Guys, I'm getting so excited for the HBO Harry Potter TV series remake, and each week we seem to get more and more cast announcements for the show. Most recently, we had Mr. and Mrs. Dursley, Malfoy, Lucius Malfoy, Seamus Finnegan, Lavender Brown, Pavati Patil, and the Minister of Magic. That is on top of already confirmed castings like the Golden Trio, Dumbledore, Snape, McGonagall, and Hagrid. But the thing is, there are so many more characters yet to be casted, all of whom appear in the first book or movie. And a lot of the characters who pop up in the first book do appear for the entire series run. So in this video, I wanted to break down pretty much every character I could think of that appears in book 1 of Harry Potter and also has a speaking role. Just how we can see how wide a range of characters will probably be appearing in season 1 of the show. What's up guys, Mike here, welcome back to the channel. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this, let's do it. Okay, so I honestly just sat down and off the top of my head made a list of every character I could think of that has not been cast yet but does appear in the original book. As I said, many of these characters have speaking roles and appear in multiple books, thus they will need to be cast for this book and can't really be left out. That being said, I think some of these characters could be worked around a little bit, so I'll kind of discuss their role in the books and the likelihood of them just not being in the series at all as I go along. Again, this is in no particular order, but I wanted to start with the rest of the Weasleys. I bet you're probably thinking of Fred, George, Ginny, and Percy, but if you read the original Harry Potter book, you will also know that Charlie Weasley does appear in the book. He comes to take Norbert, the Norwegian Ridgeback, away from Hagrid's and meets up with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Charlie actually does not appear in the movies. We finally meet Bill in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 movie. And there's, I guess, a cameo of Charlie in the photo of the Weasleys in Egypt in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, but Charlie does have a much bigger role in the book, at least in book 1, and then again in book 4, Goblet of Fire, where he is looking after the dragons in the first task. So Charlie Weasley will likely have to be cast alongside much more major characters like Fred and George and Ginny, who are probably the 3 next major Weasleys after Ron. But Percy is also a very prominent character who was in the original few movies but wasn't really focused on past that. Percy in the books notoriously has an ongoing feud with his parents and is kind of a representation about following authority over thinking for yourself. That is a storyline I would love to see explored in the series, and I think Percy definitely needs to show up in book 1, so is another one that needs to be cast. Now let's head over to the Quidditch pitch, because Madam Hooch is another character with a speaking role who will definitely need to appear in book 1. She doesn't play a major role past book 2, but she is there for all of the Quidditch matches in the series. So with that said, Madam Hooch will need to be cast and appear in season 1. She is responsible for the very first flying lesson, which as we know results in Harry being, I guess, not cast, but put on the Gryffindor Quidditch team as Seeker. So, Madam Hooch. Slightly different one here, but the Sorting Hat will need to have a voice actor. The Sorting Hat only appears in the first 2 movies, but kind of appears almost every book. He is particularly well known for his songs and kind of warnings later in the series, but the Sorting Hat is a major character. I mean, he has that fundamental important conversation with Harry on his first day of Hogwarts where he decides to sort Harry into Gryffindor. He also speaks to Harry in the second movie/book where he tells Harry that he still thinks he would have done well in Slytherin. I'm very curious to see who the voice actor for the Sorting Hat will be. Moving on, we have a few more Gryffindors in Harry's year. Of course, we now have Harry, Ron, and Seamus, but Neville Longbottom and Dean Thomas are still yet to be announced. We know that Neville's role in the books is major, and that was reflected in the movies as well. Dean Thomas's role in the movies was much reduced. In the books, there's a lot more going on with Dean, particularly towards the end of the series, because I think he is a Muggle-born and he's kind of on the run in the last one, not going back to Hogwarts. That didn't really happen in the movies, but it would be great to see Dean cast. Of course, he has the relationship with Ginny that Harry is jealous of. There is a lot going on there, so definitely needs to be cast here. Let's go back to the Quidditch pitch to talk about Harry's other team members. Oliver Wood definitely needs to be cast. He teaches Harry Quidditch and is the captain of the team, alongside Alicia Spinnet, Katie Bell, and Angelina Johnson. Now, Angelina was named in the movies. The others were kind of just there. They never really had heaps to do in the films, and they were definitely side characters in the books as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't really see any of these three girls named in this series. They're not really fundamental to the story that they're there. Oliver Wood, on the other hand, is. He, of course, is notorious for his love and passion for Quidditch and constantly wanting Gryffindor to win the Quidditch Cup. He graduates from Hogwarts in book 3. Oliver Wood didn't appear past the second movie. He does make a very blink and you miss it cameo in the final movie in the series, but Oliver Wood will definitely need to be there for the first 3 seasons of the show. So curious to see what they do with it. Meanwhile, staying at the Quidditch pitch, Lee Jordan notoriously is the commentator for Quidditch matches and does a funny and great job of it. This was a quite iconic role in the original few movies. Lee is friends with Fred and George as well. He stops appearing in the movies, I believe, after Chamber of Secrets. Lee is no more, but he is kind of there with the twins throughout the entire series. So we are going to see a new Lee Jordan as well. Let's look at some more unlikable characters. Crabbe and Goyle are a fundamental part of Malfoy's storyline and are there a lot. They are also instrumental in the Polyjuice Potion scheme in book 2, and also kind of important in the last book where Crabbe, I believe, dies trying to kill Harry, Ron, and Hermione, particularly Hermione. Now that was reversed in the movie where Goyle is the one to take Crabbe's role. This was more of a meta reason because the actor who played Crabbe was unable to return for the movie, so Goyle took that role instead. And Blaise Zabini became Malfoy's second sort of henchman, which was, I guess, kind of funny, and lots of memes about how Crabbe changed so much. Now, Dudley also needs to be cast. Harry's cousin, who is also very, very prominent throughout the series, the spoiled brat cousin of Harry Potter, who is eventually saved by Harry in book 5, and in book 7 finally expresses some level of like for Harry. Very, very important character. The Dursleys all are, so really curious to see who's Dudley. Speaking of Dudley, he does have a few cronies he hangs out with, including Piers Polkiss, who actually in the books attends the zoo with the Dursleys. I don't think we will see Piers Polkiss in this series. He is definitely just a very, very side peripheral character, and I don't think it really makes a difference if he's there and named or not, so I doubt we will see him. Let's journey out of Hogwarts, maybe towards Diagon Alley. We have Garrick Ollivander, famously played by John Hurt in the originals, who popped up in movies 1 and movies 7 and 8. Of course, an essential scene, and Ollivander also pops up towards the end because he is kidnapped by Voldemort and is giving Voldemort information about the Elder Wand, so that will be a very, very interesting person to see who plays that role. Tom the barkeeper is also a character that also pops up in Diagon Alley, where Hagrid speaks to him and introduces Harry to him. He also pops up in a few of the other movies and some of the other books, but mainly the main interesting thing about Tom the barkeeper is that he shares his name with Tom Riddle, and Tom Riddle notoriously hated that somebody else had the name Tom, which prompts him to create the name Voldemort. So there is merit in having Tom the barman early, but maybe not super essential. Over to Gringotts, we need to have Griphook the goblin, who is an important goblin that takes Harry to his vault and later appears in the final book as well, escorting the Golden Trio back into Gringotts to the Lestrange's vault. Guys, while I've got you, I am getting closer and closer to hitting my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. I can do it. I really think I can, but I need your help. If you want more content like this on like Gen Z, millennial, 90s, 2000s, pop culture and nostalgia, please subscribe to my channel and check out some of my other videos. I'd love to have you along for the ride, so thanks. And what I'm finding from this is seeing how all these small characters from the first book do end up becoming relevant in Harry's story much later. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they pull this off in the show. Let's look at some of the other staff members and personalities at Hogwarts. First up, we have the Fat Lady. Now, definitely a minor character, but the Fat Lady is a character. She manages the Gryffindor common room, and she does pop up in a few key storylines, including in book 3 with Sirius Black. Interested to see who they end up going with this. We have Professors Flitwick and Sprout. Flitwick definitely pops up much more in the first book, with Sprout more in the second, but she does appear in the first book. Both of those will be interesting castings. We also have Madame Pomfrey, the school nurse, and Madame Pince, the school librarian. Madame Pomfrey, again, definitely much more prominent in the books and movies. Madame Pince, I feel like we could take or leave and doesn't really have a major role in any of the books, but is there, so I don't know what they'll do with her. Nearly Headless Nick, who was John Cleese in the original movies in a fantastic portrayal, but didn't pop up past Chamber of Secrets movie, but He's very prominent throughout the entire series, has a key storyline with the Basilisk in book 2 and various other things including the Death Day Party. Alongside him, we might also need to see the Bloody Baron, but I think he's kind of negligible. We do, on the other hand, need to see Peeves, the poltergeist, who infamously does not appear in any of the movies, but I cannot wait to see Peeves in this TV series. He has such a prominent role in the books, is such a force to be reckoned with, and also helps out in the Battle of Hogwarts towards the end. So Peeves will be a very fun role for sure. Okay, there are just a few more that I want to gloss over pretty quickly. Marcus Flint, the captain of the Slytherin Quidditch team, also needs to be cast. He pops up and is about the same age as Oliver Wood throughout the series. We then have Firenze and Bane, the two centaurs that Harry sees in the Forbidden Forest. Firenze also has quite a big role moving forward in the series. He ends up teaching divination in the books, so needs to appear as well. I actually wrote down the King's Cross guard who laughs at Harry when he asks how to get to platform 9 3/4, and the Anything from the Trolley lady, who I guess might make an appearance in this too.
Anything off the trolley, dears?
Madame Malkin, who is the robe shop owner in Diagon Alley. Funnily enough, Harry first meets Draco Malfoy in the books at Madame Malkin's with his mum. So it means we could get a casting of Narcissa here, but to be honest, with the announcement of Lucius being cast, I personally believe that Lucius and Draco will appear together in Madame Malkin's, and that's where Harry will meet him without Narcissa. And finally, and maybe I saved the best 3 till last, we will need to see James Potter, Lily Potter, and of course, Lord Voldemort. Now, this is a tough one. James and Lily, I assume we will see in flashbacks, but we also see them clearly in the Mirror of Erised scene where Harry sees not just his parents, but his entire family in the books, but in the movies, it's just James and Lily. I think they will keep it pretty similar in the series. Voldemort, of course, pops up on the back of Quirrell's head. That is the ultimate twist of the story. Now, in the movies, they did not use Ralph Fiennes for this. He was not cast until Goblet of Fire. But I have a feeling they're going to have a consistent Voldemort throughout the whole run. It's rumored that that is Cillian Murphy, which I think would be a great casting for Voldemort. So I think we will see him pop up. And to be honest, I'm actually curious if for the Tom Riddle's memory scenes in Chamber of Secrets, we might just see an AI de-aged Cillian Murphy instead of casting a teenage actor. I'm really not sure, but as far as I can tell, that is pretty much every single character who is yet to be announced to be cast in the upcoming Harry Potter series. All of those characters will need to appear in the series in some form. So it is very exciting waiting to see how this all pans out. Whew, thank you so much for watching, guys. Bit of a different video this week. Let me know, did I miss anyone? Is there anyone else you can think of that needs to be there? Definitely let me know in the comments, and I could even do a follow-up. I think I was pretty comprehensive though. If you've got nothing to comment, but you want to help me out with the algorithm anyway, just comment below Mudblood. That way I know you made it to the end of the video and I know you're a true fan. While I've got you, I'm all over the internet doing dumb stuff that I think is cool. I have a blog, I have a podcast, they're all down below. And if you like this video, YouTube reckons you might like this one, but I have a whole bunch of Harry Potter related content right here, so definitely check out this playlist. That's pretty much it from me. My name is Radio Mike. This has been The Inside on Mind, and I'll catch you later.